Well, happy Friday afternoon from all of us and our team here at Kaplan Morrell to our friends, colleagues, neighbors, and all workers in Colorado. It has been a exciting 3 weeks, I think, since I've last posted. We had some legal conferences. I spoke at one regarding evidentiary issues. We had hearings before administrative law judges on behalf of our clients. And so this is the first time that I've been able to get back and be able to kind of talk about what's going on. We just finished with March. March is National Brain Injury Awareness Month, and I wanted to talk about how workers' compensation deals with brain injuries. The answer is horribly, pitifully, they suck. And so let's talk about what you can do if you have a brain injury or you know someone who has a brain injury, a concussion, any sort of injury to the head. Just understand that the system is really just stacked against you in terms of this. So number one, first big thing is trying to figure out whether or not you had any loss of consciousness. That is a hallmark sign for concussions and brain injuries in terms of this potential seriousness of it. And so the insurance companies, the doctors that see you after the fact, they are going to be combing through those initial medical records, emergency room reports, any employee statements, ambulance records to see about what was the loss of consciousness. Because if you don't have a loss of consciousness, in my opinion, unfairly, they are going to use that as a argument to minimize the extent of any sort of brain injury that or cognitive functions impairments that you may have as a result of your work injury. So that's number one. Number two is we're going to be looking at, and the insurance company is going to be looking at, any sort of measurements of your cognition prior to the work injury. So, for example, school records, etc. Now, most of the time, the school records are decades old, and so then we're back to what kind of work were you doing. Family members can give a good history on that. That's important. Number three, most occupational doctors who are going to see you, what we call the primary doctor, that's the doctor who is kind of quote unquote in charge of your case, but he or she is in charge only to the extent like a general contractor is in charge of building your house. If you think about it, the general contractor doesn't lift a shovel, doesn't lift a hammer, is never on a ladder, never picks up a screwdriver. All the general contractor does is, hire the carpenter, hire the electrician, or hire the plumber, hire the excavators, and then kind of manages it all. Another example I use about your primary authorized treating physician is he or she is like the conductor of an orchestra. And if you've ever seen an orchestra in person or on TV, you'll notice that the quietest person in the room is the conductor. So don't be put off necessarily by the fact that your primary care physician isn't touching you a lot, spending the least amount of time with you. They're supposed to be coordinating, and the problem that we see often is they don't bring on a head injury specialist soon enough. So definitely, if you see that happening to yourself or to a loved one, you're having cognitive function, you need to start asking those questions. Often they will send you to a neuropsychological evaluation, neurologist. All of those are appropriate. Sadly, there are some in Colorado that are better than others. And when you are with an experienced law firm that handles head injuries, we can help get you to better neuropsych, neurologists, etc. Fourth thing I think that head injury victims face is what I would say is the unknown and the unseeable, and that is you are dealing with headaches, change in emotional set. It's not uncommon for head injury victims to be a lot more angry, have less patience, relationships fail, marriages get strained, etc. And you need to be aware of that, because the problem is that if I break a bone, I can see what's going on. It's very difficult to see what's going on with the brain injury. It's just very difficult to get that, x-ray and go, oh, there it is. It's just not there. And so oftentimes you're dealing with employers, adjusters, and sometimes even doctors who are kind of dismissive of the complaints because it's not something that they can objectively find doing an x-ray and MRI. So it's really important that you get put with a team of people who know how to handle head injuries and can help counsel you and help you deal with a lot of the emotional changes. It is not uncommon for spouses of injured workers who have head injuries to say, my wife, my husband is different, they, etc. You've got to be prepared for that. You've got to work with people who understand that. Final thing on head injuries that I'm going to let you know is, unfortunately, it seems like everyone in the system is trying to minimize the extent of the problem, from the doctors, certainly the adjusters, the attorneys. I have a case right now where a gentleman was in a high velocity rollover accident with the semi, and so much force that the roof caved in. The exhaust pipes up on the top of the semi were bent, etc. I have an adjuster and attorney hell-bent on trying to prove that it was just a small rollover. It didn't even roll over. It just went on its side, even though the photographic evidence completely is inconsistent with that. And just understand that you're looking at needing a lot of good experts to challenge this, because the insurance company will happily spend $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 getting you to known doctors who will dismiss your complaints, and that's unfortunate. So head injuries, a horribly treated injury within the workers' compensation system. You really have to get aggressive on that, and really you're better off letting us get aggressive for you in terms of making sure that you're getting the treatment you need, because we have several ways that we can work around getting treatment when the carrier doesn't want to pay for it, and that's important. So as always, it's a pleasure to sit here and chat with you, and remind you to have a safe and happy weekend. Spring is finally coming, which is great. And again, if you know anybody in Colorado who is suffering from an on-the-job injury, would you let them know to come and contact us? Our consultations are free. We've been doing this since 1995. And I'm closing in on 25 years. Mike's been doing this for over 20 years. Rhonda's been doing this over for 20 years. Let us put our over 60 years of combined experience to work for you. You can call us anytime, 970-356-9898. You can go on our website, contact us there. We are here to happily and proudly serve you. Have a good weekend, everyone. Bye.